Hey everybody, this is Mr. Todd, and you're listening to Stories and Solutions. This is part two. Check it out. I just think that like the disconnect, and this is just I'm throwing this question out there. I feel like the disconnect is we as a culture, the so-called American culture, we teach excess, we teach consumerism. Capitalism is, squash whoever you can to get what you want. But I think if someone created a machine that can give you peace, they're going to kill that person.
Mm,
I don't think it's going to be,
because then they'll lose control.
yeah, I don't think it's, see, and that's what I mean. People start saying, oh, he's conspiracy theorist. But if that's the case, why is it that you have AI all this time and they can tell you, oh, we made another human being, but we haven't figured out how to stop cancer, even though we're the ones that created it? And
Yeah.
so that's what I mean by like, no matter what you're using it for, the average Joe, like you and I, are not using it for sinister reasons, but we're also not going to be. There's certain, I guess, computer programs, software that can pick lottery numbers, right? So they have to put, parameters in to make sure that that can't happen. So you already know people are going to try to use it for foul reasons first. So that should have been taken care of before you even released it. And then you shouldn't allow private companies to have it because they have no like laws, really, you know.
Right.
So when you start to like privatize Pandora's box is what I call it, if you don't put restraints, or at least with digital money, if you don't put sanctions on people to make them stop or even get to that point, you're doomed because AI can make a nuclear bomb. And if you have enough money and you're a fanatic, right? That's that guy that goes in the lab and he's like, hey, 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 I'm gonna rule
Right,
the world. You know what I mean? And
right,
that's
right.
it. It's just a matter of time. So I'm more for like the parents today, I feel, have it better than what we did as far as time with their kids. You can talk to them on FaceTime. You can monitor them more. These days you can work from home. And if you can't, there's still ways to connect with your child compared to before.
Mm,
And so therefore you should be able to not use the excuse of I'm busy. You're busy because you're making yourself busy.
mm,
And right? And therefore you're allowing social media to raise your child. And then therefore you send them to school with the attitude of they're yours for 8 hours and you're
right.
supposed to raise their child, right? But
Yes.
the minute you say something that they don't like, oh, you're a horrible person and I want you fired, right? And that is the disconnect because teachers going to say, I've had enough. I'm one of those people. And then people are like, some other people are like, this isn't my kid. And therefore they're going to let them do whatever they want.
Mm,
And you still have to walk outside. And we all, again, give away that power because why? You're threatened by your title holders to say, oh, you're not going to come back to work tomorrow because I don't like the way you did this. And so said that. And this isn't how, you know what I mean? Like the insane asylum is run by the crazy kids versus the people that are supposed to be in charge because they
right.
don't want to, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And so then when you add in AI, like I told you this before, if we don't have a class based on AI, you're doomed because now you got people just learning on the fly, and then those people are not going to know the same way you have these assemblies about, oh, don't put your images on the web because they're there forever. How many years have been saying that? And it's just gotten worse because of what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because of what?
Yes.
TikTok. So then why isn't that banned? Oh, no, no,
Right.
no. That makes
Right.
money.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
So that's what I feel. You guys you guys tell me what you feel because it's I think it's a scary world.
it is. It does, like I said again, it does exposes us in many different levels. How we're gonna rise ourselves up to be able
Hmm.
to protect our kids and raise them in a way, even in this up-to-date world. So we gotta rise up. where there's no way of trying to raise our kids the same way we were raised. It's kind of like when we're trying to teach in the class the way we were taught, but kids don't learn that way anymore. But they tell us, at the upper levels, and they give us training. This is how you're supposed to teach the kids now. But you're like, but I never learned that way. So you might be able to kind of like the guy who has a new tool. He has an electric saw, right? Instead of turning it on, and they just go physically back and forth. And it's like, no, it has a battery, you just
Yeah, you just push
um,
it.
and it's the same way. Just because you have a new tool, that doesn't mean you know how to use it. Just because he has an amazing title, that doesn't mean it's going to make a difference. So it's more as what is it that we're trying to do here?
Yes.
Having embedded in here, did we try it ourselves? Do we even believe in it? Can we change ourselves even through what we want to teach or show or even improve? And if we do that, then we might be able to, now that we have it embedded in ourselves, we have a better chance at even making tweaks so that the kid may understand, in that sense. But in order to do that, we need to embed ourselves in the kid's life even more. And so then it's like, man, that takes a lot of work. And so that's why, I say it's exposing us. And that's why I say it's good because we won't be able to stand. We gotta be able to continue on developing as well.
As humans.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give you a scenario. AI 10 years from now. So I just want to know where you guys think it'll be. And in 10 years from now, you're out driving to a cabin, Airbnb, and you're on a Jeep and you're driving. And these are like our younger people. And it breaks down and they're stuck there all night long. And they need to make warmth. I feel like they would die because the first thing they're going to do is go on their phone and put in YouTube and how to make a fire. So where do you see AI in 10 years? And I know it's a funny joke, but I think it's the truth. I think that's what people are like losing their brain cells.
Yes. 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 So I don't know if you ever teach your kids do not play with fire, right?
Yes.
So we're kind of like limiting them. We're limiting our kids to not do certain things that would prepare them for scenarios like that. So even AI, you don't want to play with that fire, but one day you're gonna need to keep warm.
Hmm.
So you need to approach the fire. You're gonna need to be able to know how to lit it. And so that's kind of like how I see it in that
Okay.
sense, in that scenario. So yes, if they're not able to not be afraid to handle it, it's kind of like, people say, oh, guns are bad. They are if you're not even trained on how to use them.
Hmm.
But if you train yourself on how to use them, they're not bad. It's just the people behind them, depending on what
That's
you
right.
use it for.
They
So
don't shoot themselves.
yes. So if you're trained with this tool, and so when it comes to the point where you're not afraid to touch it, you won't get burned because you know how to approach it, then they're going to be better prepared into that sense and help them develop at the same level as it is developing, even though it might be faster. But even adapting or even foreseeing, okay, you know what? I don't think I'll be able to be a bank teller no more. That one can be
Mm.
completely automatically. I mean, I don't even have to go to the bank to deposit a check, and
That's right. Just take a
you
picture.
know, so then that's it. I don't even have to go to the bank to send people to someone. I don't have to carry cash, so I can just, you know, forward it on the phone. And it's here. It's not that it's just not. It is here already. We just gotta open our eyes and be able to be aware of it and be able to kind of like, yeah, we need to rise up. We've been
So,
exposed. Yeah.
so where do you see it in 10 years?
In 10 years, I see it where um cars, like you won't even need to call someone to come and pick you up, right? There's gonna be a car that is gonna come and there's no driver. So there's, driver's less. Anything you want to learn, you can just go ahead and type it in and learn it. And so that's gonna approach it. So teaching careers are gonna really be outdated in many different ways. You want art, they can create it for you. You want music, it'll be
Yeah.
created for you. So what is it that you need to do in order to continue on and having a job per se, right?
Hmm.
In this sense. So that's where I see it. Where we're gonna be lacking on is a lot of the ourselves being educated into taking advantage. Okay, well, I can become a programmer, even though AI will be programming a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Even as is AI, artificial intelligence is not intelligence, but we
No, it's
call it
not.
intelligence because we feel stupid and dumb next to it.
Because it can calculate faster,
It
that's
can
all.
calculate faster, can do things, blah blah, but it doesn't have any intelligence. It has already been coded to do what it does.
Hmm.
Well, it thinks for itself. Like, well, it's being coded to think
To think
a
for itself.
certain way.
Yeah.
So there's no intelligence. It's not. It's gonna make different decisions based on what it has been able to scan through the whole world. So yes, it's gonna be advanced on that. Now, how are we going to develop and grow with it? That's where it's going to be the challenge. That's where I see the challenge. It's unstoppable right now. It's just going
Yeah.
beyond different levels. But how we're going to be able to use it is not so much the development of AI, is more are we going to rise or we're going to be stuck? You know,
Hmm.
it's kind of like the guy who was sharpening his stones tools when the iron came about.
Yeah.
You know, are we gonna, you know, it's like you gotta change, you gotta rise to now become someone who sharpens that iron with that stone that you had before. You know, so we gotta use the skills we have now to be able to sharpen ourselves in that sense. That's how I see it.
I agree with you. I will say that in '86, I remember I was a mechanic. My first car was a shell. So I got the engine out of my sister's car that she crashed, and my neighbor helped me put it together. And then the seats and the wheels, I mean, like literal shell. And that experience of, like working with your hands. And I understand like AI can do all those things, but in '86, they had electric. It was a Honda. I want to say it was a Honda Insight, and there was an electric vehicle, and they destroyed them all,
Yes.
$1 billion, right?
Yeah.
Because it was electric, and it was like a gas war, right? If we get these electric cars, you're bankrupting Saudi and blah blah blah. And here we are again. So I think that on one side, there's enough people that are with the trend is showing. Like right now, you can buy a 2022 Mercedes electric car for 25, $30,000 when they were almost $100,000,
Mhm.
3 years ago. So the trend is going negative. But at the same time, I think that the way we are as a human, if you really think about it, and I'm just saying this as a joke in a way, but the people that said no to a shot is about the amount chance of people that would say no to AI.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like if they're sitting there like I'm not moving forward with this new GMO, I'm not taking this, I'm not doing that, I'm not, you know what I mean? There's people off the grid. It's those that small
Small
amount.
number. Yeah.
Those are the people that I feel that are in the Terminator. That are the ones I'm not kidding.
Those are the people that are the Terminator?
That survived.
Oh,
And
that
the
survived.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
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 yes, because the rest of them were led down, you know, that
Yeah.
road.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think, Bertha, in 10 years? I know you guys probably
10
got.
years from now, it's like I think about it and I'm not very articulate on AI, but I keep thinking in terms of what we're gonna be
Mm-hmm.
managing AI in 10 years. Because I feel like the way I feel personally about AI, it keeps pushing me within. And I keep going back to what you were saying at the beginning on how we connect at the energy level
Mm-hmm.
and how humanity, like, we need to wake up to realize that when you hurt me, you hurt yourself.
Yes.
And when humanity fights against itself, it's just not going to work out. And we're
No.
going to destroy ourselves. We
Mm-hmm.
almost did in with this DEI and this transgender I mean, what is the goal here with all these ideas? We are exterminating ourselves.
Hmm.
So what when I see AI and how AI is really doing everything and anything a human can do,
You're
what are
getting
we
rid
root
of us.
for? What are we root for? Then we need to like go within and realize what is our purpose in life here? What is humanity here doing? You know, why were we sent to this planet? For what?
Not
To
to destroy
accomplish
it.
what? And so we
Yeah,
need to find out our true purpose as humans. We need to find out who we truly are from within so that we can maneuver ourselves to help one another instead of destroying one another.
that's
If we
right.
want humanity to advance, we want humanity to be better. AI is not better than the human because
No.
behind AI is the human programming it.
Yeah, I think it's just an excuse to be lazy. I know the reason why I say that is because whoever programs something is what they call human error. So if you're putting that in a computer and that computer is now calculating, I don't care what formula it is,
Yes,
you know what
yes,
I mean? There
yes,
is still room for
yes.
error. And taking it away from people that their job is to make sure again and again beforehand, not just, oh, I put this in and it says it's going to work. You know what I mean? I think that's bad. And I also think, and this is just, again, people call me weird for a reason, but I feel like if we have AI, I'm all for it. Again, if it is there to create what we all crave, which is peace. You cannot tell me that AI is supposed to teach you how to make coffee faster, but it's not going to tell you how to get rid of a migraine, right? It's not going to be do these three, eat these three things. I won't mention what they are on here, but you eat these three things, you won't have diabetes. Why is that hidden? Well, AI should be able to tell you, but it's still a parameter on there
Right.
Right.
They're hiding it from you.
because it
It's
exactly.
still limited to someone's perspective of what the human should know.
And what they're going to earn, because
Right.
if you decide to say there's no more people at McDonald's, there's, you know what I mean, like there's no people at the bank, there's no people at Ralph's, it's all machines. We either A are going to have someone create new jobs for us, we create our own jobs, and then those things are going to have to be human based, which means you're going back to the essence of life, of planting things and giving these to people to sell these things to people, which is why I said we don't need money. And then you look at the ocean. That's where what 70% of our oxygen comes from. But you got all these fish and everything coming up dead, and nobody cares. You can have like, oh, the oil rig 600 miles out pouring oil that broke, but it costs them less money to pay a fine than to fix it, and nobody cares, right? But the minute they say, oh, this food is now contaminated and people are getting sick, AI, oh, give me the cure. Get rid of those people, because that's what the earth is eventually going to
Oh,
do,
wow.
right?
Yeah.
That's pretty much what's going to happen. And
Right.
there's your Terminator, because it's going to, AI is going to think so much for you that it's going to actually tell you. And I know this is probably sensitive, but the same way Hitler can fool people to say get rid of all and again, it's not just Jews. You got gays, you got Chinese, you got blacks, gypsies, all special needs. All those people were being killed. Why? Because somebody told you they're no good. Oh, these people destroyed the ocean. Get rid of them. That's your Terminator. Because someone else that's human, given that job, is going to have a human feeling and hesitate. Whereas a robot is going to go and
Right, right, right.
done. They already
But
started it with the dogs,
but then again, it's like the robot is only going to go as far as the human programs it.
but they're not responsible, so they don't care.
I'm sorry, what?
They're not responsible because they just programmed it, right? Like
Mm.
we program
Right, you program it,
drones.
but you didn't execute the
Exactly.
program, right?
They didn't actually
So it's
push the
basically
button.
hiring someone to kill us.
Exactly.
You know, it's
They're creating your killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
no, it cannot be that way. And
That's
that's
where
where
we're heading.
humanity comes in to really either use it for good
Hmm.
or find a way to go around it, fight it, or find a different solution. I just don't think I feel like we have the power, but we lack the connection
Right.
because as humans we're not connected, and what makes us powerful is that we're connected.
Hmm. And they don't want you to be. That's why you're so busy on the phone.
Yes, and so
But
we
the machines are.
the machines are connected.
They're all connected and they know
They're
Yeah.
all
exactly what the other
connected.
ones are doing, right?
They're all
Exactly.
And
connected.
there's no car crashes when they're all driving because they know.
Right.
Humanity needs to come together, and AI is just gonna run out of algorithms to kill us.
Yeah. I have a poem that I'm gonna put out and it's a book I did and it's just poems. But one of them was about that and it was how we have the capability to cure each other
Mhm,
through just straight harmony, like
mhm,
our voices and
mhm.
you know what I mean? Just love. And
Yes,
people talk about oh prayer, but
energy.
yes, that prayer is your energy, right?
Yes,
So I've always said this. I don't like religion because I feel like it's a threat. It restricts your thinking because it goes off of a consequence of fear
yes.
versus the knowledge of who you really are, right? And if you can cure, like for example, they say the Earth's heartbeat is the same as the frequency 432, the
Mm-hmm,
same as our body.
mm-hmm.
So why do we allow them to change the frequency to go through the radio? Oh, we don't have any power. That's the first thing you do. It's too much trouble. Next thing you do, right? Then the same with your phone. They say, oh, the radiation. If you told Apple and all these other people, we're not going to buy any more phones until you fix this, it'll be fixed, right? Because their bottom lot,
Right.
you know what I mean? That's their bottom dollar. But people don't want to go through the trouble. And I think that when you lack that connection, it's almost like the poem I was talking about was if we as a human, we all hate each other based on their color, their religion, their sex, their income, where they live, right? Let the aliens come down and all of a sudden everybody's help me and hugging each other,
Who said
right?
that? Who said that? Who
That was one
there
of my
was
poems.
a president. A president said, I think
Oh,
it was Reagan
maybe JFK.
or JFK
It could have been.
who said we're gonna have the aliens come in and see how fast we'll come together.
Yeah, it's probably. I'm sure I got it from somewhere. But but you see my point?
Yes,
It's like yeah,
absolutely.
you know, like someone okay, at work, there's I have a handicap placard because I have issues, right? But I don't park in the handicap that's right in front of the gate. I park the furthest from the one that's like at the end of the parking lot. But the women, there was two women. I see them pretty much every day. And my son is at the school that I work at. So I park, and when he and I are talking, and they get out next to me, and they're looking at me, and you can see they're mouthing, but it's consistent. And it's because I look the way I look, so I don't look like I'm disabled,
Right.
right? And then I get this attitude. So the first thing I thought was, I told my son, I was like, you know what's crazy is these people are judging me. And what would it have mattered if I was here or somebody with white hair? It's still a far way to the door. And it's kind of almost like you're not super disabled because you're way over here, but you shouldn't be judging me because you have no idea like
Right.
what I go through, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And but if you take that situation and on the way home, or say, God forbid, somebody comes to the school and it creates terror, I guarantee you those same two women will be help me,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'd be like, excuse me, and just walk away.
Right.
Now you know me. Now you see
Now
me.
you don't, yeah, exactly,
Right,
you know,
right.
because that's just the
Yeah.
truth. It's like we put each other in these places that we feel comfortable to you to be in
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
we can control. And then we forget. Like again, we need each other, you know?
And you know what? It happens so often within families where so and so doesn't talk to, so and so, but somebody in the family dies, and all of a
Hmm.
sudden we all reconcile.
That's right. That's right.
Why? Why does somebody have to die?
Yeah.
Why can't we just reconcile without killing somebody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
It's true. I mean,
it
they
is
say
true.
they say weddings and funerals, right?
Weddings and funerals.
Yeah. Yeah. My
Families
uncle.
come together and they forgive each other, and they cry together, and like, why does someone has to die?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very true. My uncle died in December. I flew home for the weekend to his funeral, and I saw people there that I haven't seen in 15 years, 30 years, and this is my family. And in a way, it's embarrassing, but at the same time, it's like it goes both ways. Like, you know what I mean? Like you should be able to put things away and
Mhm.
be able to
Right,
still be human,
right.
And that's what I mean when I said from the very beginning, the vibration we're at, that level we're at. There's one of my episodes. This guy's name is Michael Belma Johnson. I feel like this kind of sums it up. He, I was in Santa Barbara because we hang out there a lot, and I had my wife and my kids, and we were walking by the pier, and they wanted to get ice cream or something. So we were walking, and this man was sitting on a bench, and he just looked like he was lost. And he looked at me, and he said, "Nice shirt." And it was one of my shirts, and it says mind, and then it has a line, and it has body, and it has a little symbol. So it's like mind over body. But
Right,
right? So he caught it, and he says, "That's a nice shirt." And I usually just say thank you, and I keep going. But I heard that voice in my head say, "Own it." And I said, "It's mine." Like I designed it. And that led to this conversation. And my kids, I end up sending them with my wife to go get their ice cream because I can't eat it anyway. And so he and I were talking, and he starts telling me about how he was just sitting there and he was asking God for a sign. Well, he ended up being on my podcast, and he tells this story, which is bizarre
Mm,
because
that's
he starts telling this story and he goes, "Yeah, and then I was asking for the sign, and then here comes Mr. Todd." And to me, these are two people that never seen each other, and we ended up having a connection, and we spoke for a good hour,
right.
right? He ended up being on my show. That was like 2 hours or so because it ended up being two episodes, and then we
mhm.
still speak to each other. So it's I think when you allow yourself to not be afraid of the human connection, you find peace.
Mm.
So that's why I wanted to leave that. And if you guys want to chime in, go ahead. I really appreciate you guys coming on. I know it's late, but I had a great time.
Likewise, likewise.
Likewise, yes, yes.
Yeah, I hope we do it again. I still think we have those other topics are this is great.
Definitely, definitely.
I love this because it's like it's hard for me to have conversations with people because I feel like again, I think they think I'm crazy because you know what I mean? So this is
We're
really
the same kind of crazy.
Let's just clarified everything. We
that's
are
all.
crazy, so let's get that out of the way.
Yeah, I'm with you. Three crazies.
I think we've been, I don't want to say manipulated, but we've been maneuvered to fear. We've been maneuvered to, I mean, just with COVID alone, we were so terrified to be close to one another.
Not me.
You know?
I was the
Us
rebel.
either, but we were pushed to take our distance and et cetera, et cetera.
How dare you not wearing a mask
Yeah, we lived
Yeah,
at the
and
beach.
so I think
at the
that
beach? Yes, crazy.
we've been not knowing unknowingly participating in a psychological operation to little by little dissolving humanity,
Hmm.
and just um getting rid of the good values, getting rid of our true selves, and the spiritual aspect of humanity is like very unpopular. Like religion has really served only a purpose to destroy spirituality
Mm.
and put us against one another. My religion is the one. No, my religion is the one.
Yeah. But
And
we
so,
all believe in God, but we all judge each other.
Yep.
right. And so, no, and then if you if you're part of my religion, it's unconditional love, but you have to stay in.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
And
quiet
So
right
that is
there.
not unconditional at all.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
so I think humanity needs to grow spiritually
yeah.
yeah.
at the core.
Yeah. Another thing we also got to be aware of, and this is very hard for a lot of us to understand, that we have been putting away against each other,
Hmm.
So
Divide and conquer.
yeah, well, sort of yes, but more as they're keeping us busy on fighting against each other. Well, it's because this is black, or because that one is white, or because this one is Latino, or this one is Latinx, and this one is
Hmm.
Latin whatever, it's just against each other. LGBTQ against you know,
My religion, your
yeah,
religion.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
just and we get
I'm poor,
so
you're rich.
embedded in,
Hmm.
because it's Republican or because it's Democrat, or blah, like, no, we are unique as individuals, but also unique as a human race. But
Yes.
also the greatest thing is that we are easily manipulated in a way, and they were deceived
Deceived.
so easily that it's so hard to help us understand that we have been deceived.
Mm.
Well, people, I think, don't
No.
want to because then A, you have to admit that someone was controlling you,
Right.
Yes.
right? And
That's why
B,
it's tough. Yeah.
that right, because then it's like again, you're looking at it's almost like this, and again, I'm on that other side, but it's like they tell you pledge allegiance. I don't. They tell me pledge your allegiance at work or whatever. I'm respectful, but I'll take off my hat, but I'm not. I don't care. Like that's not because they're not giving me anything.
Mm.
It's only me pledge to you. You're not pledging anything to me,
That's so true.
right?
I
So
never saw it that way, but it's true.
from when I was a kid. I'm telling you, I was always the
A
kid that,
rebel.
well, I'm okay. So my mom says I was never trouble because I don't say anything.
Mhm.
But when I talk to you, like because I'm the youngest and the only boy. So I grew up around my sisters, my mom, my grandma. So I was around older people. And my mom said at 5, I was reading newspapers and having conversations with her friends. So when I was in high school, one of the guys that I went to high school with, this has got to be 15 years later, I was at church. And this is before I stopped going to church, but I was at church in Northridge, and he says, "Are you Todd?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he tells me, "I went to school with you." And I was like, "Wow, you remember me?" And he told me, "I remember you because you used to sit by the stairs and I talked to you and you had these really introspective conversations." So I was always that way. It's just that I was in high school and in middle school, I was called a weirdo because I was this guy that I just didn't think like everybody else and I questioned everything,
Hmm.
right? So that made me to this day, I'm considered, what do they call me at LUSD? They call me the lone wolf
The
and
what?
The lone
the
wolf.
lone wolf.
Oh,
Like
the
I
lone
walk,
wolf. Yeah.
yeah. And I don't think that's fair, but okay, I'll own it. And I think it's unfair because just because I'm on my road, you know what I mean? Like I shouldn't have
Yeah.
to have this label,
Yes.
right? It's like, oh, you just think differently than us, okay? But I shouldn't be a threat to you,
Right.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So these people, I think that when you give away your power, as we were saying, is because it's almost like when someone gives you get a house, they give you this mound of paperwork. Most people don't, they're afraid and they allow, same with a record company, they give you a deal, stacks of paper. It's there to confuse you and make you not pay attention to a whole bunch of pages. So
Mhm.
you're giving away your control. And I think that's the deception. And then people they're going to sit there and think, wait a minute, I work for the devil? Like, think about how many people are religious
Mhm.
and they're actually going to realize if they're deceiving me, I'm the devil.
Mm.
right? So then you are pledging allegiance to these people that are controlling you, that you're allowing to control you, which goes right back to your biblical times. Don't do that. Don't open up that box. Don't eat that thing. Don't, you know what I mean? And that rationalization, I think people have been so dumbed down that they're afraid, like your mind is fragile of I have to grasp the fact that this isn't really life, And where do I start now?
Mhm.
Well, if you lost your house in the fire, you're going to start somewhere. If you just
Right.
got out of jail, you're going to start somewhere. But people are so busy being busy,
Right.
you know what I mean? It's like you think about it. If you went down the road and you picked 20 of the best football players and gave them each $100, they're going to play their heart out. But we'll spend billions of dollars for the same game that's broadcast on lights and TV and entertainment and singers. That should tell you that they need you to be distracted from what they're doing,
Yes.
right? But again, I'm the crazy one.
Yeah, because
Now you make so much sense.
lately, you make us the sense because lately we are like looking at the for how many days, how many weeks was this guy from
Hmm.
who was it? What's his name? The guy
Diddy?
that got deported and they wanted
Oh,
him back.
yeah.
How long was he in the news?
Weeks.
Right?
Hmm.
We were Ibarra was just saying like, what is really going on that we have to, listen to this story for so long,
Oh, yeah.
and they're making it so big, and the
Hmm.
senators are going to Nicaragua, I don't know where
El
he was from,
Salvador.
El Salvador,
I
to
wonder
go bring
why.
him back. Like, why? He's
Yeah,
and then we're wondering what is really going on. Okay, so enough with the story. Now tell us the truth.
that's right. They don't want you to know the
Yeah.
truth.
They don't want to tell us the truth.
No, because then you're going to rebel. I said the same thing with this Diddy thing. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like, change his name to Hugh Hefner, and nobody would have said a word. I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm saying don't act like this is one person in the world and
right.
that's your devil. This
Yeah,
industry taught that dude how to do those things,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
You came in the industry. You
Mm.
had to have permission to be able to get this far to do it,
That's
Right, right,
correct.
right,
Yes.
right.
right? So therefore, there is a whole lot of
Yeah.
people doing
No
that.
one makes
Yeah,
it that far without some kind of
Exactly.
permission.
Exactly.
exactly.
So to me,
Exactly.
this is all another stage. It's just
It's
another
just distraction.
distraction. Yeah, that's why I
Distraction
don't believe it.
from what's really going on behind the curtain.
Yep. Yep. I hope you guys had a good time and I hope
Oh,
you
It
come
was a
yes.
on
great
again.
Great.
time.
Yeah?
Awesome
Yes,
conversation.
absolutely.
Yes,
Always.
thank you.
Always, always. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're all human beings. We're all trying to figure out what is going on behind the curtains. And things feel wrong at times.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't seek out for the people who feel the same way we do, it's pretty lonely.
Yes. Yeah, so you
No?
start thinking you're crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm telling you.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. I tell my wife often, I'm like, I don't feel like belong here. I'm like, I really
The
feel
story of
lost.
my life.
Yeah. I keep telling her and she's like, "Oh, stop saying that." But I'm lately,
Yeah,
yeah, I've been really, I create my own things, but obviously I don't make enough from it to like I do motivational speeches, right? Well, I don't make enough to just take care of my family on that, but I try to lead with the energy that I want to be around,
right, 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 right.
and to me that's another thing that students need to learn these days is the value of you take a chance on yourself, you invest in yourself, you
Mm-hmm.
believe in yourself, and you may not be rich from it, but you should be fulfilled,
Mm.
you
Yes.
know and
I
that's
am so glad you're there for the kids.
oh, thank you.
Oh, yeah, me too. And he's constant.
Kids, kids need people like you in their lives.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I hope and pray that they appreciate you and that they take advantage of having you around because I do see the value in you being in people's lives.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. That means a lot. especially because you don't know me. So it's like
Yes,
you
yes.
see me for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I feel the same way with you guys. So, like I said, you have an open invitation. I'm looking forward to next time. You guys have a
Amen.
good night.
Likewise, likewise. Take
Same
care.
here.
All
Good
right, you
night.
too.
Bye bye.
Good night.